Have you ever made a promise to yourself? Our guest today made a promise to himself as an 18-year-old young man in high school when he couldn't do one pull up and he was laughed at. He was picked on. Even his gym teacher picked on him, and actually, he failed PE. But it was that one day that defined him. Instead of crushing him, it defined him. He made a promise to himself that he would never be laughed at again. And today, at 53 years old, is a specimen of an athlete. The dude he's a freak. If you've ever seen him in person, you know what I'm talking about. He just completed the Spartan Beast in the trifecta in this calendar year, and he could have left us all behind, but he had the graciousness to stay with us because that's the kind of leader he is. Today, we are going to interview David Asencio. But first, check this out. Yo, welcome back to the When Words Don't Come Easy podcast. I'm your host, Andy Howard. Man, it's always good to do this. I have a special friend joining me today, someone who I've done life with for quite a while now, and just an honor to have him on. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce him now. This is Mr. David Asencio. What's up, David?
Hey, what's up, Andy? Man, it's a pleasure to be here.
It's always an honor catching up with you. And I don't want to make you uncomfortable right off the bat, but I have a Mount Rushmore of four dudes that I absolutely admire. And so this episode is called Behind the Muscle. And David Asencio is one of those guys on my Mount Rushmore. The other, we'll be interviewing all of them. Actually, I have three that I'm interviewing. We'll have to come up with a fourth. But David Tatro, my personal trainer, the other one, and then Russ Scares as well. And so, does that make you uncomfortable knowing you're on my Mount Rushmore?
A little bit, and kind of ironic, kind of how I started. I know we're going to talk about that, but yeah, I gotta say, it's a little weird, man.
I don't tell everybody this, but I just wanted you to know. I just thought we should get that over with early. But anyways, man, I admire you so much just as a human. You're a friend of mine, and I've seen you as a father, as a just as a man of faith. I admire you so much. And the way I met you, going into it, my wife and I went to just to enhance our marriage, this thing called Reengage, to work on our marriage. And you were leading our group, you and your wife, Deanna, and we became friends from then. And I've admired you throughout the years, and always seen your health was on point. And even the last couple of years, you have just really leveled up your health. And do you mind me telling people how old you are? Because I think
No, not
once
at
I
all.
hear it,
Not at all,
dude,
brother.
you're 50 years old, right? Or did you go
53.
over 53 years old? Even better bonus point. So you just completed the Spartan trifecta, including the beast, and you were the beast of all the beasts out there at 53 years old. That's incredible, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, give us, for someone, and we're going to dive into behind it later, but just for someone we're at the end of 2022, going into 2023. Maybe I don't know, the new year, everybody's got the resolutions. It's like, well, this is the year I do it. I want to get healthy. I want to, where would you suggest someone starts off if they just want to level up in their fitness? Do they start with, maybe it's losing weight, or do they go to the gym, or do they do both? Or what would you advise someone to do?
Wow, that's such a great question, Andy. I get asked that one pretty frequently, but before I go there, I want to pay homage to you, brother, because I equally have incredible respect for you. And it's incredible how you said that. Those are those qualities you admire about me. But one of the things that I've always admired about you, and I've tried to take and learn and adopt my style, is how well you show up and love your wife.
Man.
I mean, I remember that in that class, and things I'm like, man, why don't I need to be like Andrew? I need to learn how to do that, So I just want you to know, iron sharpens iron, brother. So I am privileged to be here today. I'm honored to call you my friend, my brother in Christ, and just walk through life together. So I just wanted to pay homage to you too, brother. So thank you for allowing me to be here and share.
Yeah.
But, that's a great question. I get asked that one a lot. And, And honestly, everybody always wants to dive into the mechanics right out the gate. What should I
Yeah.
eat? What workout should I do? Uh, and those are great things. But what I really, the best advice I can give you is to learn how to self guide yourself. So, but how do you do that? Where do you start? You know, and really, it's what do you want? What do you want to accomplish? Why are you wanting to make this change? Is like the biggest thing, the keep the anchor, I should say, to focus on. Okay, like why do you want to change? And not just so much what, but why. And the reason I say that is because, and I'll dive into all the, some of the suggestions of what you can do and things like that, is because here's the reality. You go to the gym, it's a new year, right? People are going to do one of a couple of things. They're going to buy a gym membership, and they're going to like buy a bunch of little gear. They're going to get all jazzed up. They're going to go, they're going to brave the cold. And if they make it through the gym doors, they're going to get in there, and it's a little intimidating, the environment, right? And they're going to get on the only thing that they know, because everybody's on the same machine. They're going to get on a treadmill, and they're just going to look left and look right and run, right? Because that's what everybody else is doing. And they're going to go to the gym, and they're going to go home, and they're not going to see any change. And then the next day they're going to be tired. And then they're just going to go, and they go, well, I'm going to go again. And then, but the next morning is a little colder and a little stiff. So, like, oh, I don't know. I didn't really see any results from yesterday. And then if they do make it day two, it's kind of rinse, wash, repeat. But usually about after that first week, people start skipping a day, and then they skip 2 days. And then they just kind of like, oh, well, I got this thing coming up. And, well, I'm not really seeing the results. So I want to encourage you to like skip all that. If you want to set yourself for success, why do you want to change? Why is it going to the gym important to you? And by the way, the gym is just something you layer on, right? So why is it you want to change? And for me, it's funny. We're talking here, going into the new year, and I'm 53, and I literally am in the best shape of my life. You see, because previously, my health was all over the place. I radically shifted from being overweight to being really thin, and being overweight and thin, and just all over the place, and just not really being on point and not knowing what to do. So I had to shift. So it's like, why do I want to make that change? And really, I just wanted to change myself physically. So it just started with research, like learning nutrition. And I'll be honest, I wish this program had been introduced to me then, because I had to learn the hard way. I had to go out and do all the homework and research the macros and all that stuff, and then learn how to eat right, and then start with the exercise that was going to meet the goal of how I wanted to change my body. So it's not just diving into buying a gym membership or buying, some piece of exercise equipment that, let's be honest, is going to turn into a clothing hanger by the end of January, right?
Guilty right here, man.
Right?
I've been there.
Right. So, like skip that. Right. So align your goals with your why and what you want to change forward to.
I absolutely love that, Dave. And it's so funny because these poor to me, I'll never forget that this was years ago, long before I've adapted my habits, but we did the same thing. All the things we bought our outfits, had to look good in the gym. We got the treadmill. These poor two guys are struggling. This thing was heavy. So they're trying to get, and the dude with sweat all over his brow looks up at me and he says, just promise me one thing, this doesn't become an extra closet. Well, like 2 weeks in, that's where we were putting our clothes, and it's got all these extra racks to hang clothes and stuff. That's what the treadmill turned into. So I totally relate to that. And I love what you say. If you do not know where you're going, how are you going to get there? Right. So that is awesome. Get to your why, and then line up your goals, and then pursue that. And so I have been there, and then you go to the gym, and you look around and you're watching everybody else and you're trying to do what they're doing. And then sometimes that comparison stuff starts happening. And I love exactly what you're saying. You come home 3 days later expecting to look like Popeye, and it just doesn't work out that way. It's about the consistency and that's more important than anything else you can do is staying consistent day after day. And then one day something magical just happens. You kind of walk by the mirror and you're like, well, hello there. What happened? So it's fun how that happens. I remember one time, I'm going to take this back to I wasn't ready yet. And so that's why it's so important to being ready. But we were at a convention or a conference for our business, and you said, hey, Andy, let's go work out. Hey, conference starts at 8. We probably need to get in the gym around 5. That was problem number one. I didn't want to be there. I sure didn't want to get up at 5 a.m. And everything we did hurt. So I do love that now from a different frame of mind. I love going to the gym. It's so funny, but you do have to find what works for you. I know Tiff loves to run. I know some people love to do like, I don't know what they're called, like the jazzercise or the dance classes or just stuff, some healthy motion. There are lots of things to find what you do best. Could you elaborate on that? Maybe what there's not like a cookie cutter thing. Like what works for Mr. Asencio may not work for me and may not work for someone who loves to jog. I hate jogging. I hate running. Tiffany loves it. So what would you say to that? Just finding what works for you.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Actually, you just said the answer right there. What is it? What works for you is what you enjoy doing, or what would you like to do? Right. So I get asked all the time, well, what workout should I do? Or should I do this thing? Or should I do that thing? I go, I don't know. Is that something that is of interest to you? I'll be honest. I'm like you, Andy. I do not like to run. I mean, like I will run if something's chasing me. That's about it. Right. So for me, my personal goals were to physically change my physique because I was growing up, I was never that guy. I was not a sports guy kid. So it's what is it you enjoy doing? What is it you have an interest in? What, well, I like to, I don't know, I'm making this up. I'd love to learn how to, maybe row. Okay, cool. Why don't you look into exercises that are conducive to helping you perform that rowing that give you that enjoyment? Right? It's tying it with enjoyment. So it was really just, what is it you like to do? What would you like to do? Or it doesn't even have to be an aggressive thing. Like recently I was talking to a client who she's talking about going on like these hikes, but like these multi-day trek hikes. So it's like, cool. Why don't you start looking at exercises that are going to help you build up your back strength, your leg strength, and it's just about endurance. Yeah. Just keep it simple.
I love that. And another thing, keeping it simple, is sometimes we think we have to have the gym, the whole full thing. This is one thing I've always seen from you, and I admire as well, because we do travel a lot for what we do. And no matter like what conference we're at or what convention, I can look out and find somewhere if there's any open space, and I'll see Mr. Asencio. He's got his jump rope with him, and you can get a great workout and just by carrying a little jump rope around with you. So there is, gosh, possibilities are endless. You don't always have to have a gym. What would you say on that? Just on
Definitely,
making it,
definitely,
yeah.
man. Like and the reality is the jump rope is a pretty inexpensive piece of equipment. And if you're like me, when I first started jumping out, I was so uncoordinated. I mean, like I had more whip marks on me from trying and getting, and I don't know, like I got a short attention span, so I get frustrated, and like, oh, I can't do this. Just start easy, small, start with one hand. But yeah, it could be a jump rope. Heck, use the stairs in your home.
Yeah.
I've seen moms take their littles and like use them as back weights, and like,
Yeah.
just be walking
Squats.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a really inexpensive one. Get a set of Olympic rings and you can hang them over like a bar. You don't have a bar in your house, go out to a playground, like the basketball bar, throw it over there. You could do all kinds of things. You could just do body weight against the walls, furniture, and it's not about going out lifting massive amounts of weight, and you could actually hurt yourself starting off. So
Yeah.
I urge you, start small and just build up over time. But yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money on equipment or gym memberships. just get into it and you'll learn and evolve as you go.
Yeah, that is the other thing. And we are going to I'm going to U-turn here and dive into some of the behind the muscle stuff and get a little more serious. But that is what I see a lot. Uh, it's all good, right? In your mind, you think it's great, but people dive in. They're like, oh, I'm going to build Rome in a day. They dive in, they just
Yeah.
start trying to do 100 reps or something, and then they end up getting hurt and it sets them back worse than where they started. So for sure.
Yeah.
Well, when I was talking to you, and the whole reason this whole concept even came up, and actually the next three parts of this series behind the muscle, people look at you, man, and they see 53 years old, and we always make jokes about the Greek god, like he's got this body of a Greek god. He's very fit. If you're listening to this podcast, this is one of those you need to go watch. It's a good one. But then one day we were on the Spartan race on one of them, and you were telling me that I believe in junior high, might have been high school, but you failed PE
Yeah.
because you couldn't do one pull up.
Yeah.
And you said that's like set all this into motion. Why don't you dive into that story? I think it would be so helpful for so many people.
Wow. It's like, yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. It was funny. We were in a race. And I hadn't thought about that in a long time because um, honestly, I didn't run the race for the medal. I didn't run it to go say, hey, check me out. I ran it to keep a promise. Yeah, people look at me and they just assume I played sports all my life and I've always been very fit. But no, I grew up in a household and there wasn't into sports. And yeah, there was one particular incident in high school. Kids could be a little mean, but wow, I didn't expect this from the gym teacher. And we had to do a fitness test, and there was pull-ups involved. And he had everybody lining up, and I'm just panicking because I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? And it's my turn to get it to the bar, and he barks, and I barely get up there to grab the bar, and I am not even inching. And just in front of the entire gym class, just humiliated me. But yeah, I failed gym. So it's kind of ironic, right? Running Spartan Beast and doing these things, but I and suffered a little bit, poking, humility. Kids could be mean, in the boys' locker room, but I made a promise to myself that nobody was ever going to laugh at me like that again. And I was going to take that away from people, and that nobody would ever be able to laugh at me, because I couldn't do that activity. So, and it was more because I should be able to at least do one. And now everybody knows, like, jump rope, pull-ups, those are my jam, and it's just like, look, if that was the thing that was going to hold me back, why not change? But it wasn't until much later in my life that the actual change started. That was my why. It's in high school. I was 18, right? But then I started set off into the world. I moved out when I was 17. My business life and my career just started taking off. And I was always very focused, very intentional in my business life and my career. But then my personal life was just, man, it was erratic. It was just all over the board. And so my health, like I said, I would go extremely heavy. I would go to extremely thin. And just my relationships, just nothing. But my business life was always on track. It was always progressing. And then I kind of hit the wall in my early mid-20s, where I had a divorce, and I realized I had to take stock. And that's what I love about this time of year. This is the time of year that people slow down and go, what happened in 2022? Where do I want my life to go in 2023? And it's, hence the New Year's resolutions and goal setting. By the way, you can do that any time of year, right? So for me, that was when I just said, wow, like I gotta get my personal life on track. It's like, because I'm not going anywhere. I don't have a destination in mind. And I was like, well, what do I want? And I remembered that why as a kid. I'm like, well, I don't have the body I want. And then I started, but I saw other people, and I'm like, that guy's got nothing on me. If that guy can do it, he gets up, he goes to bed, he eats food, he does. If he can do it, and if that person can do it, and that person can do it. So I started intentionally putting myself in environments where that was what people were motivated about. And then so I started putting some structure into my personal life, just like I did in my business life, to kind of get that on track. And then so I started, with the nutrition, and I started doing the exercise. And just like everybody, I started doing all the wrong exercises, and that's okay. Do it messy, do it wrong, just start and get going. And then that just started the change for me. But it was every time I did an activity, every time I went to the gym, every time I still go to the gym, every time I grab that jump rope in the morning, I'm committing that promise to that kid in high school. I said, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. Let's go.
It's incredible, man. It is incredible because we don't always look back. We look at what we see in front of us and think, wow, it just came easy for Mr. Asencio. It came easy for him because he had the genetics, he had the genes, whatever. No, it's hard work, right? It's hard work and consistency. And you had your why. And I love that. And I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry you went through that stuff. You're right. Kids can be cruel, but you expect more from the teachers.
Yeah, but you know what? Thank you
know,
for saying that. But those are the things that have molded me.
yeah,
They happen for me, not to me.
I agree with that so much. And now looking at it, that's what I was going to say next. Because one of your daughters ran several of the races with us, and she's a beast as well. Let me tell you, at 18, is she 18, 17, 18?
Yeah, she's 18, but she was 17 when she ran it. Yeah.
Running like just as like another Asencio, let's put it that way, and your wife as well. So you have these habits and these things, you may not even realize it, but they're changing generations, right? It's not just that thing that happened to you, it has affected your entire family. So that is so cool. So cool.
It is very cool. And, the funny part is the last race that we ran, she said, "Hey, I'll see you at the finish line," and she took off.
It is true. It is true. Now you probably could have kept up with her in all honesty, but the group of us, we couldn't have. So she's like, sorry, old guys, I'm out. So very cool. Man, what would you like to, if there's something just stirring on your heart, what would you like to, and it doesn't even have to, maybe it is health wise, maybe it's something else you just feel right now, but what would you like to leave people with today, knowing, I don't know, whatever it is that you feel like you need to share today?
Well, thank you for that invitation, because there
Yeah.
are two things on my heart that I really want to share. And first one is gratitude, because I personally, I like to work out by myself because I just kind of go into myself. But I will tell you, one of the things I love about going and putting myself in a gym environment is I'm not really motivated. And this is where I want to give thanks to. I want to give thanks to the person who is not that physical specimen that they want to be yet, but that is in there. Because when I'm in a gym and I see that person, that motivates me. They motivate me. Not the one that's got all the abs and all the veins are sticking out, like all the big muscles. That's cool and all, right? That's nice. But I am motivated by that person because that's courage. That's dedication. So I want to say thank you for showing up for you, and thank you for showing up and motivating me. But the other thing I want to just impart with people is, as you go into this new year, we all get wrapped up around, I'm going to change all these things in my life, and I'm going to start January 1. That's an awesome concept. But how has that worked in the past for you? And I want to encourage you, you can start January 1 today. You can start every day as a new opportunity. Heck, the next hour is a new opportunity. And where I want to encourage you is have that big picture in your mind, but start small and do it in little chunks and expect to fail. But get back up and try again. Try a different way. Get around people that have common goals, common interests. If you're in an environment where that they don't support you or don't encourage you, I want to encourage you to embrace these words: bless and release. Love you, bro, but I got to go. Right?
That's good. That's good.
So just wanted to share that.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I know you and your wife are business partners, and you have you're both independent Optavia coaches. Phenomenal business. You've helped thousands of clients lose weight, whether it's some or just losing weight in general, which is a very good part of being healthy. But then there are others that you're helping level up and take that next step, like you've mentioned, fitness wise. How can they find you or your wife? What's the best way for them to connect with you if they have any questions or want to learn more about what you've talked about today?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So the easiest way is you can find Deanna on Instagram, or myself on Instagram, but Deanna is Coach Deanna on Instagram. You can find me, both of us on Facebook, Team Asencio Coaching. We also have a link tree. I can maybe share that later, put that in the comments or something. But I really want to encourage you. This is you're unique. Everybody's one-on-one. So let's just have a unique conversation about what your goals are.
For sure. And that's what you guys are so good about. And especially you, David. Every time I've talked to you, you're very good. Sometimes it's intimidating, but you're very good because you break it and you make me think. And that's hard. Sometimes I don't like I don't like diving in and really getting down deep, but you'll ask those very good questions to make you really dig deep and say, well, why do I want to do this? And in the end, that is the most important, because like you said, everything else is superficial. A weekend, do you really still want to do this anymore? And come January 7th, you're going to be like, this was fun, but it's just another 2023 is just going to be like 2022. That was like 2021 or like 2020. And it
All right.
is.
You want to know you want to know my secret why I do that?
Yes, let me hear it.
Because I want to teach you. I want to teach people how to lead themselves so that you don't need somebody else around you to constantly motivate you, inspire you. So when you're working out in the gym, it's your own voice that you're playing back in your head, and you're able to persevere and push and grow and go to the next level and want more. That's why I do it.
And that's what makes the difference. It really does. Because as much as we love our friends, our family, and we have a huge community that me and you are a part of, that it helps, iron sharpens iron. I love that. But in the end, it's you and that guy in the mirror that's going to make the difference. So that is so awesome. I love you. I'm glad you said that. We're going to wrap this up. Do you have any parting things here before I wrap it up?
I think we covered a lot of ground, man. And it's beautiful to see how you evolved. And I remember that time when we were in the gym, man, because you complained on every single exercise. Oh my gosh, you had to complain about it. And then so to go from that guy to the dude who has this incredible home gym setup, I mean, like I'm envious of. I want to come to the playground, and he's got ropes in his backyard. You're amazing. I love how you've reinvented yourself.
Thank you. But it does show that you have to be ready, because I wasn't ready then, and I didn't even know then. But now this is, and I look to my left because it's my podcast side on my right, but to my left is where I work out. That is what I enjoy now. I didn't realize the mental side of, like you said, just being alone. Being alone with my weight sounds kind of creepy, but I absolutely love it, man. I love that time alone where I can't be bothered and I can just work out and I can focus on myself. But dude, it's been an honor having you on, and we're gonna have to have you back. This was just for your fitness buff side, which everyone can see that, but you're one heck of an entrepreneur and have so much business sense. So we'll have to have you back on another episode. But for this one, we're going to wrap it up. And I thank you for coming. If this was your first time experiencing the When Words Don't Come Easy podcast, thank you for joining. Will you share this with somebody? Maybe someone came to mind as David was sharing his story, and you're like, this dude needs to hear that, or this woman needs to hear that. Please pass it on. It helps promote hope, which is what this podcast is all about. No matter what show you tune in on, you're going to hear about hope. And so help share that, like and subscribe, and please pass this on to as many people as you can. Thank you for being here, and thanks for joining us. God bless. Thanks so much for tuning in. If this episode helped you in any way, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review and share it with somebody else. Thanks so much. I'll catch you next time.